Well, this is the gathering, waiting to board, and just talking to people we've met over the years, discussing the status of the project and things like that. What we're trying to do is build connections between parks, connecting the state parks to the local parks, going under the bridge at 3A on either side of the Back River, using a boardwalk, and hopefully to increase the usage of the parks and make the recreational experience a little more extensive than it is right now for all 4 parks. We're working with private partners on a lot of our projects because of the physical reality, which is the state is not awash in capital funds. So we have been looking a lot towards private partners to complete some of our projects. And we've been doing that along the Charles River at Watertown. We just finished a Braille Trail, which we worked on with the Perkins School and the Solomon Foundation. And we're working on just wrapping up narrowing Greeno Boulevard in Watertown and Cambridge, where we took 2 lanes out of Greeno Boulevard and created another 20 or 30 feet of parkland and a safe pathway along there. And we've been rebuilding pathways. A lot of it's motion because people move, and we want to accommodate those movements in a safe manner, which is one of the things we want to do with this project. It looks like food and beverages are being provided, which is nice. It's a good way to start the morning. Well, what I like most is the people. It's great to see the people I haven't seen in quite a while. It's good to see their enthusiasm for the project, the enthusiasm for the environment. I think it's a lot of fun to get together with people who really care about projects like this.
Well, we're being hosted by Representative Rogers and Mayor Hedlund for a tour of the Back River. And this is my first time on the Back River, and I like what I see. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful place, flanked by 2 DCR parks, Abigail Adams and Stoddard's Neck, which are much loved and much used parks as part of the DCR system. We manage about 500,000 acres of land for the benefit of all the citizens of Massachusetts, all over the state, and a couple of gems right here in Weymouth and Hingham. So there's certainly a lot of support for expanding recreational opportunities here along the Back River. We're particularly proud of the fact that the Back River is an area of critical environmental concern, or ACEC. The ACEC program is overseen by the DCR, and it's part of the C in our name. People think of DCR as primarily recreation, the R, but the C is also very important to us because we are the stewards of lots of very unique ecological resources, as well as the cultural and historical ones, and we take that responsibility very seriously as well. The marine resources, the fish, the shellfish, very important. Just today we saw a bunch of wonderful birds, including some white herons on the river. I think we're out on a beautiful fall day. The leaves are beginning to turn. It just shows the remarkable resource which is right here and accessible to the residents not only of Hingham and Weymouth, but the entire South Shore and the larger region. Well, I've certainly learned that there's a tremendous amount of support for this project in the community, in both communities, just by the number of people who are here. I've seen that the Back River is a resource that really should be explored and by more people. A number of people on the boat are really here for the first time, seeing it being on the water. They've experienced the Back River from one side or the other, either Esker or Bear Cove, but not on the water. So I think the takeaway is there's a tremendous recreational resource on the water here as well for more people to enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've done it every year for probably 12 years, and due to the partnerships that we have with the Department of Conservation and Recreation and the great people that work there, they provide the boat and they provide the staff. And each year we've done this the same time every year around October. It's a beautiful time of year to travel up the Back River. So there's been an effort over the years to preserve and protect these waterfront parks. And it's interesting because you have a combination of state parks and local parks. Hingham owns parkland, Weymouth owns parkland, and the state owns parkland. each park itself is on its own. And it was thought years ago by my colleagues and I in the legislature that it'd be a great project to connect all of the parks together. And of course, that takes planning, that takes design, that takes funding. So we started this project a long time ago. It actually began with Mary Toomey, who we all know in Weymouth and Hingham, an amazing person that lived for many years preserving and protecting all these parklands. It started with her 50 years ago. And because of her, you look at the clean water here on the Back River, you look at the parks that are now accessible to people, they're clean and they're open, it's all because of her. She passed away a number of years ago, but her memory and her work goes on with the great people on each Conservation Commission on both sides, Weymouth and Hingham, and the volunteers that work so hard every day to preserve and protect this park. We, in the legislature and in local government, are working in an effort to get funding to connect the 4 parks together. It'll be a regional park where people will come down and they won't just park at one park and access just one individual isolated park. They'll be able to park at one park and walk all 4 parks. And also there's a master plan in the town of Weymouth, and I know Hingham has some planning too, where there's some trails that will link up to this park system. So you could have 10 miles of walking trails, hypothetically, where one person could drive down, park, and just connect to all the parks. And there's also a thought that, and an effort I think would be great, would be to connect it all also to the Hingham Shipyard. So if you wanted to park and walk along trails between the 4 parks, maybe you end up at the Hingham Shipyard for lunch, or you go back to your car, whatever you want to do, but it'd be nice to tie it all in together. This isn't just a design aimed at the people to be able to use it from Weymouth and Hingham, which of course is important to us, but it's also a regional thing where people can come from all over to park here and see the beautiful waterfront parcels that we've been looking at for years. There's a lot of people in our towns that have never been to Bear Cove or Great Esker Park or Stoddard's Neck or Abbey Adams State Park. I want people to see what I see. I want people to see what we're seeing today, and to see it is to believe in it, and that's why I know this project's going to get done.
So it's a way to get the towns together along with the state, the different stakeholders, and try to coordinate some of the activities to preserve these resources for future generations. And we have the closest ACEC, area of critical environmental concern, to metropolitan Boston that exists, which is the Back River. So it ties in with so many recreational and open spaces in the area, whether it's the Harbor Islands, the launch site we have for boats and canoes in North Weymouth, adjacent to Webb State Park. It's just a way to kind of link these up and continue that cooperation between the 2 towns. Last year we actually couldn't get the boat up the river for some drafting issues, but this year it worked out well. The highlights really extend throughout my lifetime, not just today. I mean, I grew up on the river. On the Hingham side, I moved to Weymouth. I lived on the Weymouth side of the river, and now as the mayor, we're working to accomplish some improvements along the river. Next week, we're dedicating an additional parcel of open space along the river that we have acquired and cleaned up, and we've got some other things in the works further upstream, if you will, all the way to Iron Hill Street in Weymouth, where the herring run starts. So there's a lot happening down here. We're looking to preserve as much open space adjacent to the river as possible and keep moving forward.
So there was initially some money in it to look at what the potential was for a pedestrian underpass. And so that sort of vision has been created and a design has been proposed. The next step would actually to get some additional money to have some as-built drawings built. Sometimes that phase is done at the same time as construction. Sometimes, for a project that you don't have the full funding for, initially you could do the as-built drawings, get all the permitting. There'll be some significant permitting involved with this just because it's construction on a river, in a river. So hopefully that will happen, that we take the vision that we have and the preliminary plans we have right now and get actual permits and as-built drawings, and then we'll have accurate pricing, and then it's a matter of going back and getting the money to actually build. I think this year's tour was amazing. I think the fact that every year we get representatives from both towns at this boat trip. And of course this year we had the mayor of Weymouth and we had some local reps. I think It gives people a sense that, hey, we're all in this, we all are supportive of this. This is a very congested area in general, and so I think people really, benefit from having these spaces where they can just get out and be in nature and be away from their car. And as 3A and this whole area develops more, it just becomes more congested. So this project would really mitigate a lot of that and remind people that we live in this beautiful area. It's always astounding to me, and it's not far from this property, but the islands, just the diversity that's out there, and particularly bird life. They need places as these areas become more overdeveloped. So the variety of birds, both birds of prey and migratory birds that rely on spaces like this. You kind of have everything for birds with the river and the green space. But then we all see just the turn of all sorts of different types of wildlife around here that really has been a phenomenon within the past few years. Coyote, fox, rabbits. Rabbits were, people were concerned about rabbits for a while. Now you see around here there's 1 million rabbits and deer, and so they're not only important for people to restore their sense of place in the world, but obviously, wildlife as well. I think the biggest benefit is for migratory birds and birds of prey. Hingham is a town that's already incredibly committed to conservation and green space. I have the benefit of working with the town at Wampatuck, and I understand their commitment, and I feel like this would just be another resource for the town, that you'd be able to, all those communities that abut Bear Cove, that you'll be able to walk from Bear Cove over to the shipyard to go to a movie or to, go to lunch. I mean, that's the stuff that people really want in this world now, walkable spaces and being able to park your car at home and just really appreciate the beauty that we have all around us here. I think it would be a real benefit for the town of Hingham. It's just one of those things that you got to keep plugging away at. Sometimes projects like this, it's not addressing an immediate need, and I think funding is always an issue, but it's a bold kind of vision move, which some of the best things about Boston and this state and country are when people had those bold visions. This is one of them.